Hey everyone, this is Dr. Steve Orma, and today what I want to talk about is focusing too much on sleep. So one thing I hear my clients when they first come to see me, what they tell me is one of their main goals with their insomnia is they just don't want to think about it. They don't want to think about sleep. They want to be able just to kind of go back to where they were before, where they just lived their life, and then in the evening when they went to sleep, they went to sleep. They didn't think about it. They just they got into bed and they went to sleep, and there was no thinking about it or focusing on it or planning for it. It was just something that they just expected was going to happen, and it happened, and it wasn't, they didn't really give it a second thought. And when people are sleeping well, they don't really think about their sleep very much. It's just like, okay, it's time to go to bed. They get into bed, they go to sleep, they wake up, and they go and go on the rest of their day. With insomnia, what happens quite often is people start to really think about their sleep a lot and focus on it, and even get to the point where they're obsessing about it all day long. And they start to kind of like plan their life around their sleep. And this obviously is a problem. It's something that can consume a person's life. When you get that focused on the sleep, that it becomes the main focus of your life instead of like living your life. And this actually has a detrimental effect. So now what causes this? Why do people become so obsessed with their sleep when they have insomnia? Or not everyone, this doesn't happen with everyone, but it does happen quite often. And I hear this very frequently with clients. What causes it, number one, is worry, right? And worry about the sleep can happen not just around bedtime or in the evening or during the night. It can happen at any point. It can happen during the day because you're already worried during the day about how you're going to sleep that night. And therefore it becomes this major focus. So you're worrying, are you going to sleep, or are you not going to sleep? What'll happen if you don't sleep? And it just becomes this thing you're thinking about even during the day when you're at work or when you're taking care of your kids. And then the second thing that happens is, because you're not sleeping well, you try to do things during the day that will set you up for success at night. And so normally what this involves is, things like sleep hygiene, which we'll talk about in a minute. But basically what happens is you get so focused on the sleep that you start to organize your entire life around the sleep, right? So you don't just go and live your life during the day. Now your day gets focused on, well, what can I do during the day? Or what should I do or not do during the day so I'm able to sleep at night? And what usually happens with this is a lot of kind of restrictions or changes in the way you used to go through your day. So for example, because you're really tired, you might avoid exercise during the day because you just don't feel like you have the energy. You might start to avoid social activities. Friends are inviting you out to go, to go out to dinner or to go out and dance or have drinks. And the worry is, well, if I do that, I'm going to be up too late, or, that's going to interfere with my sleep routine that I have in the evening. So you start saying no to social events or social activities because you're afraid that is going to mess up your sleep that night. Another thing you might avoid is travel, because traveling takes you, you're going to sleep in a different bed, in a different location. There might be time zone changes, so there's worries about how that will disrupt your sleep. So then what happens is you're very careful, right? Like sleep becomes this very precarious thing, and if you don't, kind of focus on it and organize your whole life around it, the fear is then you're not going to be able to sleep. Okay, now even though this is a very common thing that happens with people with insomnia. And kind of what drives that, is the idea that when you're not sleeping well and you have insomnia, the solution is to focus on it more, try harder, do more things, and therefore that will improve my sleep. And I'll have a whole nother video on why this doesn't work, but just briefly, this doesn't work because trying to sleep doesn't improve your sleep. And therefore, the harder you try to sleep, the more focus you put on it, the worse your sleep will usually become. Now, why doesn't this work? Why doesn't really focusing on your sleep during the day and really organizing your life around it and thinking about it all the time and obsessing about it, why doesn't that improve your sleep? Well, number one, it raises your anxiety and your stress, right? If you're worried about your sleep and you're focused on it and everything has to be done perfectly during the day to have good sleep at night, it's going to make you more anxious. It's going to make you more worried. It's going to cause more stress. And those things obviously will make it harder to sleep at night. The more anxiety you have during the day, the more stress you have, the more cortisol you'll have. And then that cortisol will be carried into the evening and be carried into the sleep. And therefore, you're not going to be able to relax as much. It's going to be harder to sleep. You're going to be more keyed up. And that's going to interfere with the sleep. Another thing why this doesn't work is what people normally do during the day when they're really focused and obsessed about their sleep is they're going to be trying a lot of things that don't actually work. And I've talked about this before, but this is normally things like sleep hygiene. So you might be like, well, I will exercise during the day. So sometimes people avoid exercise because they're tired. But other times people have a very rigid kind of routine and protocol they put together for their sleep. So, okay, I need to exercise really hard. I need to get sunlight exposure. I need to, just like manage my stress. So I'm going to meditate for, 3 hours today. And then in the evening, everything has to be organized perfectly in terms of a schedule. So like I'm going to shower at this time, and then I'm going to do my wind down at this time, and then I'm going to do my meditation. I'm going to make sure that, my bedroom is like the perfect temperature. And so like, it's like everything has to be perfect. I'm going to have my sleepy time tea, at this time before I go to sleep. And so it becomes this very rigid, structured kind of like routine in your life, both during the day and the evening, in a way that's going to set you up to be able to sleep at night. This might also include like I can't drink any coffee, or if I do, I have to stop at an early time in the morning. I can't have any alcohol. It can get really intense with all of these rules and structure and patterns that you feel like you need to follow perfectly every day to set you up for sleep at night. And the problem is none of this stuff works. The sleep hygiene stuff doesn't work, but even more so, what I want to emphasize today is the obsession and the perfection and kind of having everything perfectly in place to sleep doesn't work, right? And I'm sure you've seen this. If it worked, then, right, there'd be no problem. You'd be sleeping fine. But it doesn't work. And then what it usually feeds into is more anxiety and stress and frustration and trying harder, trying to be even more perfect, being even more rigid about your schedule and making your entire life be focused around sleep. And this again, this doesn't work, and it feeds into that cycle. Okay? So what do you do instead, right? If this is focusing on the sleep during the day and really thinking about it and trying hard and following all these, rigid protocols doesn't lead to better sleep or the resolution of your insomnia, what do you do instead? Well, Number one, during the day, no matter how you slept at night, good, horrible, whatever, don't focus on the sleep during the day. Focus on your life. Forget about sleep. Okay? This will be so much better to not think about sleep during the day than to think about sleep. So what do you do during the day? You live your life. You focus on your work, or if you're in school, you focus on school and your studies. If you're married, then you focus on your relationship with your husband or your wife or your partner. If you have kids, you focus on, spending time with your kids and parenting your kids. You socialize, go out with friends, enjoy your life, exercise, right? So if you don't sleep well at night, you should still exercise during the day. You should still be active during the day. Now, you may not push as hard, if you only had 3 hours of sleep or 4 hours of sleep, but you still should exercise because it will help you at night when you sleep. Even though this is a sleep hygiene thing, it's going to help rather than hurt. It's better to do the exercise than to not do the exercise. The point here is whether you slept well or not at night, during the day, you want to forget about sleep, insomnia altogether, and just focus on your day and your life and be fully mentally, physically, and socially engaged in your life. The more you do that, the more that you will kind of use your energy up during the day, right? You're going to use your energy up mentally, physically, emotionally, socially. And that's going to set you up for better sleep at night because you are building up more sleep pressure. And the other thing is you're just not thinking about the sleep. So you're not making it this big, stressful thing. Okay? So that's number one. Number two is don't think about sleep. Don't feel like because you're not sleeping well in the evening, then you need to plan out some routine, that you need to avoid activities like social activities because you're afraid of how that's going to affect your sleep at night. Don't do any of that. Just live your life, pursue your goals, and that will help the sleep at night. Now, will these things get rid of insomnia? No. Generally, no. These things are not going to solve the insomnia because we're kind of just removing negatives here instead of, right? This is not a solution to the insomnia, but it's something that will help relieve that obsession and that anxiety and that stress around the sleep during the day. And it'll help with, you getting in the way of just living your life, even though you have insomnia. It'll allow you to still be able to work and play and enjoy your life to the least extent. And I know you're not going to feel your best if you're not sleeping well. But it's better to do that than to obsess about it. That only makes things worse. But to actually resolve the insomnia, what you also have to do is learn the key shifts that you need to make in your behaviors around your sleep at night or, around the evening as you get close to bed, during the night when you're sleeping. You need to learn key behavior shifts. So, I've gone over this in other videos. If you really want more details about the behavior shifts in the process of actually like resolving and eliminating insomnia, then I would watch my video, which is called The Cure for Insomnia. And I go over kind of in more detail, like, what you need to do to actually resolve the insomnia. I'm also going to give you a resource at the end of the video today that will go over that in even more detail. But basically, the key then is when you're obsessing and you're thinking about the sleep, you want to instead, no matter how you slept that night, the next morning, as soon as you get up, I don't care if you didn't sleep at all or if you slept 3 hours, you forget about sleep and you go through your life. You go through your day. You go have breakfast, you go to work, you parent, you go out and plan social activities. Yes, you might need to modulate certain things if you're tired, just like if you were tired and you didn't have insomnia. But that's different than like just like organizing your entire life around the insomnia. Okay, now, if you are, kind of obsessing and thinking about your sleep all day and you're stuck in this pattern of like having to sort of organize everything around the sleep, and you're avoiding your life, you're avoiding social activities, you're avoiding work, whatever it is, and you want to learn how to get out of that pattern and out of that cycle, then what I recommend is to watch a free training that I have. It's a 60-minute free training that goes over the 5 key steps to overcome insomnia. And these are those shifts that I talked about, both mental and behavioral shifts, but mostly behavioral, around your sleep at night, how you actually go about sleeping. So it's not so much what you do during the day once you have insomnia. It's more about what you do at night that's actually going to resolve it. And I'll have a link, I'll include a link in the notes from today's video that you can go and register and watch the training, and it'll go and go through all those steps. And so you get an idea of what you need to do instead to actually eliminate the insomnia. And then at the end of this training, if this sounds like something that resonates with you, if it sounds like a good fit for something that you would want to do to be able to eliminate your insomnia, not have to take medication, not have to think and obsess about sleep, and get to the point where you get your healthy, normal pattern of sleep back, and you can just forget about sleep and not think about it anymore and just live your life, then if it feels like a good fit, then I do offer a free 45-minute sleep strategy call that you could schedule with me. If it's a good fit and you meet all the criteria for that, then you could book that call with me, and we can get in and talk about your sleep personally and kind of put together a plan. Okay, so I hope you found this video today helpful, and you found some skills and tools here that you can implement. And also I gave you the resources, if you want to finally just get rid of this and solve this problem for good. Okay, if you have any comments or questions, you can put, post those in the comments below, and I will see you next time.